Like I say, I was a bomber. I was into hardcore destruction here.
Yeah.
I like doing my name big, but because I've been doing it a long time, I see how the traditions and letters have evolved, so I understand and I know how to drop a good piece. But there are people who have been out there piecing probably longer than me. I mean, like I say, I've been doing it 32 years in one form or another.
Yeah.
There's people who've been doing it since the 70s who are tattoo artists. I can do digital graffiti, but like the main sort of my point is scaled down. So graffiti is a constantly, like, I think all art forms, well, good art forms to me personally, are something that evolve constantly.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm always out taking photos, even though some of the graffiti now is not as good as what we were doing. You know, it's all about the competition.
Yeah.
You know, that's how hip hop started. Africa Bambaataa, getting the kids out of the gangs.
Yeah.
Let's stop killing each other. Let's have dance battles or MC battles or graffiti battles. You know, that's the positive side of hip hop.
Yeah.
People forget that now when they see the rubbish that, you know, the younger generation listen to. Half them people are not really gangsters. They're doing it for the camera. They're studio gangsters. They're plastic gangsters, you know. It's tainted with R&B, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a musical purist. Like, I liked more up-tempo hip-hop stuff that made me want to get up and dance and break, you know. It ain't got that energy anymore. I was born 1970.
Yeah.
So by the time I come into like listening to music,
Yeah.
there was like punk and two-tone.
Yeah.
Still wear a Harrington jacket to this day. Like, I love that fashion, smart, you know. You know, African Bambaataa, I used to play reggae, punk and dancehall all together. Like, you know, these were the sort of more rebellious forms of music.
Yeah.
So I went from like a punk to a breaker. I remember like all my punk mates calling me a trendy and
Oh, okay.
tagging over my writing over my first piece, you know, like I still listen to it into the 90s where it just became total rubbish. But on the sort of parallel with that was house music starting, sort of electronic disco, started in the gay clubs of Chicago and Detroit. But for me, because I was more into the dancing side of it, I always liked the instrumental. That's why I don't like dance music now. It's gone too,
Oh, my God. Yeah.
you know, sort of MC orientated, and it's all negative. You know, it's not my thing. It's for the next generation. Right, I sort of finished up with drum and bass. That was my last sort of love. I started DJing about 87. I had a pair of disco decks, like, you know, like in one bit with this like flexi light, and you know, I used to scratch on that, learnt to scratch on that. But then I learnt to mix on Technics about 89. Played at like festivals, quite a few parties in London. I sort of went through like Chicago house, Detroit techno, all those early forms of sort of what's seen as rave music in this country. That whole scene changed this country, didn't it? You know, even though they stopped it with the criminal justice bill. You know, they put it back in the hands of all the corporations again, didn't they, basically? 88 and 89, the politicians didn't know what to do, did they really? I mean, you don't know, you weren't born, you missed it all, like, no one was working, everyone was high, you know, it was fun. Then they brought in the criminal justice bill and made it illegal for 10 or more people to listen to repetitive beats. If you look at the wording of it, the bill, it's crazy. Like,
Do you think you always live in Peckham?
you can take the boy out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the boy. You know, even though like Cambridge is a city, it's not really a big place, and you know, it had a good scene back in the day. It had some good, really good parties, but you know, my heart was always in London. I was born in North London. I was born in Islington, in Barnsbury, but I've always lived south of the river.
Yeah.
Used to live sort of southwest, Tooting, Battersea round them parts, Earlsfield, and then like sort of moved here 98. But yeah, I love Peckham. Like, I think it's sad what's happening, but that's happening. That's just life, isn't it? That's gentrification is like a part of life, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
You've got to move with the times. I'm trying to tap into the new money, like, you know. Look at the positive side, you know.
Yeah.
It's lost its character, but there are some good points. There are a lot less shootings and less yellow boards, but I don't like all this corporation business that's going on. We're going to have a homogenised, you know, high street in the end, like
Yeah.
the same high street as any other high street, you know. We're losing the town square, Southwark Council's flogging that off. Rye Lane's always been the main shopping area.
Yeah.
You know what we were speaking about earlier, with the Jones and Higgins?
Yeah.
Rye Lane used to be known as the Golden Mile. It rivaled Regent Street back in the day. Look up history books, like there's a local historian, I think he's called John Beasley, he's a local reverend. This area's got a lot of history, you know. It's got its negative gang history, but it's also, you know, has a lot of, you know, like a lot of creative people. I always say to people, like, something about down at hill areas brings out the creatives. I don't want to move from it. Like, I keep saying to people, if they open a Starbucks, I'll move. But maybe that's just lip service. I mean, we're getting there, aren't we?
We are.
We've got a Costa. We've got a Costa, we've got a Subway. Network Rail are trying to turf all the people out, aren't they? Well, they've done it in Brixton. They got away with it as well. Makes me fucking angry. Some of those people had been in those arches, you know, like 30 years or so. In Atlantic Road especially, like, you know, Atlantic Road used to go onto Rowton Road, which was the front line there, wasn't it? Yeah? There's even like news agents that pays homage to it. That was where the riots kicked off as well. You know, we had riots here in 2011 as well. That was quite scary. I'm all for throwing rocks at the police, but in my younger days I was anyway. It's kind of, it was a bit scary when, like, you live above a Wetherspoons pub.
Oh yeah.
And the Wetherspoons pub in Woolwich had just been torched.
Yeah.
And I had a house fire when I was younger and lost everything. So I was kind of a bit paranoid. Like where Costa is now, there used to be Blue Incorporated.
Yeah, so yeah.
And that got raided. Like, you know, like the windows got smashed, all the stock got stolen, and then some kid went in there and like set light to a bunch of clothes. Some old Rasta guy went in there and stomped it out. You know, consumerist riots.